All right. Of course, a nice shimmering red dress or a red weird thing. 23. What do you know?
Hi, my name's Miss B, and I am a drag queen, and this is Drag Queen Story Hour. Give it up for yourself. Yeah, this is the land of all, and everyone fits in here.
Ugh.
You see that? They're being nice to the bullies. What color is the frog? Green. The reactions from the kids are hysterical. Does anyone know what a drag queen is?
No.
No? You know what a drag queen is?
No, they don't.
But they warm up, they get to know who I am. A drag queen is a character you create to express your feminine side. A drag queen is a character you create to express your feminine side or any other. I am. A drag queen is a character you create to express your feminine side.
Oh, a character you create. And of course, the onk. Misinterpreting this symbol as well.
Or any other side of yourself.
Oh, the female symbol. I see what they're saying.
That you'd like to explore. You create. A drag queen is a character you create to express your feminine side or any other side of yourself that you'd like to explore. Yeah, you could be a drag queen superhero.
No, the kid just said she wants to be a superhero. Like I said in my previous hangout, when I predicted that there's going to be a tranny superhero. Well, I mean, this kid just said she wants to be a superhero, and then this creature, Baphomet androgynous creature, said, "Yeah, you can be a tranny superhero." So, like I said, tranny woman is coming to a theater near your child.
The side of yourself that you'd like to. A drag queen is a character you create to express your feminine side or any other side.
I want to be a superhero.
Yeah, you could be a drag queen superhero.
Oh no.
Yeah. As soon as you start singing songs and having fun together, is when they really love it. Yeah, put your right hand in. Yeah, put your right hand out. Drag Queen Story Hour helps teach kids to accept themselves and.
Drag Time Story Hour teaches kids to accept themselves. The kids already do accept themselves. How about you accept yourself and stop forcing other people to accept you and your fucked up shit? And it's just disgusting. If you can't accept yourself because you can't accept yourself being a man, so you change yourself into a woman, then how do you expect other people to accept you? If you can't accept yourself, yet you expect other people to accept you and your fucked upness.
Story Hour helps Drag Queen Story Hour helps teach kids to accept themselves and let them know that it's okay to be themselves, to be who they are, and to accept others.
Kids know how to be themselves without being told. If you listen to its voice, in here, it's a lot more feminine in playing the character, and then he breaks his character and goes back into his male voice when he gets serious. Listen.
Right hand in, yeah, put your right hand out. Drag Queen Story Hour helps.
See, he's feminine right there, and now he's switching to his man voice.
Put your right hand out. Drag Queen Story Hour helps teach kids to accept themselves and let them know that it's okay to be themselves and to be who they are, and to accept others.
I like the book Neither because it's about being nice to other people.
We do a lot of LGBTQ books, also about gender. This actually touches base and explains the drag queen from, like I said, kid-friendly perspectives. I do.
Kid-friendly.
I do. The reason why I do Drag Queen Story Hour is to have fun with the kids, get to know them, and also make an impact on them. Because I want them to go out there and embrace the world, and I want them to change it because they are our next generation. And the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. Yay! Give it up for yourselves. We have great singers in here.
So, in light of a lot of trans news happens every day under your noses. So let's see here. Only 90s kids will remember this. Select gender, male or female. Let's see here. Sorry, 1 second. I just gotta find see, Disney plans to host its first official LGBTQ Pride event this summer. So that's Disney for you. And that's in light of this. USA Powerlifting bans all trans women from competing as women. So they do this. They ban all trans women competing as women, the USA Powerlifting, but then they do this. Then they well, we'll ban that, but then we'll have our first official. It's like, you guys are such dirt lords. All right, well, let's see what's going on in this very, very important lecture from Walt, who used to be a trans woman, but is now a male again, which he was born, activist going against the transition process. Let's listen to this very, very wise man.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for putting this panel together. It's a topic that everybody brings a different perspective to, and if you haven't come to the conclusion yet, this is very complicated.
So did you hear what he said? Give me a thumbs up or an A-OK if you can hear the audio. Just I'm gonna double check, see if you can to see if you can hear the audio. So let me know, and also check the description of this. Oh, actually, real quick, I'll play this.
Absurdity. What about the crazy rumors that are out there? I mean, crazy rumors, for example, about you being a hermaphrodite. How do you feel about that when you read that? I'm not even going to answer that question.
My philosophy is that if I am open with them about everything, and yet.
So did you hear that? Can you hear that? Lady Gaga denying,
And becoming
getting asked if she's a hermaphrodite.
famous was absurdity.
What about the crazy rumors that are out there? I mean, crazy rumors, for example, about you being a hermaphrodite. How do you feel about that when you read that?
I don't know. Like, what do you? I can't answer it.
Answer that question.
My philosophy is that.
All right. So can you hear it? Let me know if you can hear it. Yo, Madame Medusa, Felix. Yo, can you hear this? Can you hear it? Sounds okay. Good. All right. Cool. I'll play this and then I'll play, and make sure you press the like, subscribe, and read the description box. I put in a very good description, and I haven't even watched Eric Dubé's gender bender video recently, which I of course am going to watch.
It was absurdity.
What about the crazy rumors that are out there? I mean, crazy rumors, for example, about you being a hermaphrodite. How do you feel about that when you read that? I'm not even going to answer that question.
My philosophy is that if I am open with them about everything, and yet I art direct every moment of my life, I can maintain a sort of privacy in a way I have yet to give.
There also is this strange rumor that you're part man, part woman. You said that rumor.
Yeah.
True?
No.
Do you mind the rumor?
No, not really. I feel like modern society now and how you become popular is simply by being absurd.
But it's true. But you lose yourself in that process.
My art form,
yes,
in a lot of ways,
I told you she didn't have a deck. Too bad.
I love, j'adore.
All right, let's listen to the real thing here. All right, here we go.
And well, thank you, Ryan, for putting this panel together. It's a topic that everybody brings a different perspective to, and if you haven't come to the conclusion yet, this is very complicated. and it has many different layers. And I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get to all of them, but we definitely need to open up a discussion about it. I lived 8 years as a female named Laura Jensen after undergoing gender reassignment surgery in April of 1983. I started at...
Sorry, just loading. It'll take a second.
As a 4-year-old kid, I lived 8 years as a female named Laura Jensen after undergoing gender reassignment surgery in April of 1983. I started as a 4-year-old kid in 1944. So I'm bringing to this conversation today 74 years of firsthand experience in some way, either living it or trying to deal with it or trying to recover from it. It's important, I think, to understand that everything that we've heard today is damaging to children. And I was damaged by this, and I have some very strong points of view. So I hope that don't take exception to them. They come out of pain. They come out of real life experience. I'm not trying to be hurtful to anybody, but I think that I have a website called sexchangeregret.com, and we get letters from either the parents or the transgenders themselves asking for help after they've lived the life like I did for 5, 6, 15, 18, 20, all the way up to 30 years. And they're saying, well, can you help me detransition? This was the biggest mistake of my life. I've met with people personally. We've had the honor and pleasure of working with people who are now detransitioning. Just recently, a school teacher, a pharmacist, and a good friend, Jamie Shoup. I think it's important for us to realize that there is actually nothing good about affirming a young boy, 4 years old, like my grandma did me. The moment you affirm a child, like my grandma did, putting me in a purple chiffon dress and telling me how cute I was, how wonderful I looked, is that at the very same moment that you're affirming that young person, you're telling them there's something wrong with them. You're not right. That is child abuse. We need to begin calling it what it is. It's not affirming a child. It's causing them to be depressed and anxious about who they are. And then we go on to inject hormone blockers into them and begin altering their body. Can we begin to understand today from these discussions how destructive this is to the psyche? It's no wonder they end up with separation anxiety and bipolar disorder, dissociative disorders, schizophrenia, and many other disorders that they want you to ignore. They want to block any child from having access to psychotherapy. The only reason that I'm able to speak to you today is because after 46 years of dealing with this issue, I was able to detransition in 1990 after I had extensive psychotherapy, the very same psychotherapy that they're trying to prevent people from having. Why? Because they don't want them to detransition. Because somebody like me puts a real bad mark on the idea that it's all good, because it isn't. I've recently written a book, Trans Life Survivors, that has the stories in it. It's painful to get these emails from people whose lives have been totally torn apart. Men like myself, who was married, had 2 children, had a career, was an executive for American Honda Motor Company. One of those therapists who was an advocate for gender change surgery told me that what happened to you as a child wearing that purple dress, the only way to solve that is to have cross-gender hormones and undergo reassignment surgery. That's the solution. Well, I trusted his expertise because Dr. Walker had actually written the original international standards of care for treatment of gender identity disorder or gender dysphoria. I'm here because he was wrong. I'm here because those standards of care have morphed into what they're using today. They haven't changed much. Yeah, they've gone through revision after revision, but the basic idea is that when somebody comes in, they can self-diagnose their gender dysphoria. We are manufacturing transgender kids. We are manufacturing their depression, their anxiety, and it's turned into a huge industry that people are profiting from after kids' lives are completely torn apart. The most vulnerable people in our society and adults are tearing their lives apart. It's really beyond my understanding why we're even having this discussion, because it shouldn't be happening. I don't believe any doctor who injects a young person with hormone blockers should have a license to do so. I would prefer that they not have that ability. And I hope
Yeah, me too, man.
that people begin to realize this and begin to speak up about it. There is absolutely nothing good about affirming somebody in a cross-gender identity, because it destroys their life. We won't see the consequences of what they're doing today until 10 or 15 years later. And there'll be somebody else speaking up like I am, saying, it was horrible what they did to me. They never should have done it. The people are suffering. We're not trying to minimize their suffering. But why do we abuse them with hormone blockers and cut their bodies apart as a way to affect treatment?
Yikes.
It's insane, actually.
Completely insane.
It doesn't make any sense if we're just to pause and take a sober breath.
Well, it makes plenty of sense if you want to make
It's
money
insane.
and hurt society.
When will we finally grasp this? Christina Olson, a research psychologist in Washington, at Washington University, I wrote the article, is published in Public Discourse in 2017, June. She said, we do not know who the transgender kids are. One way or the other, we don't know who they are. You get that? We don't know who they are. That should sink in. They cannot actually identify who trans kids are except by them saying so.
Yikes.
There's no test. There's no proof. A parent can actually cause a kid to be gender dysphoric by affirming.
Yeah, I know.
The APA, which an article is going to come out in the Daily Signal in the next couple of days that I just finished last night. The APA in their handbook in 2014 says kids are not born transgender. And yet, we're treating them with medical treatment as if they were and trying to alter them.
Oof.
They're not born that way. I want to say it again. We're manufacturing transgender.
Yikes.
None of us should be a party to altering a kid's mind, his psyche, and sending them down the path where they're going to sit up here and say how their life was torn apart. And I'm the fortunate one. I got sober. I'm 33 years sober. I drank heavily and used cocaine as a way.
33 years. 33 years.
Where they're going to sit up here and say how their life was torn apart. And I'm the fortunate one. I got sober. I'm 33 years sober. I drank heavily and used cocaine as a way to try to mask the pain from having undergone the surgery, as a way to cope with what grandma did in her purple dress. It confused me. But when I was a little boy, 4, 5, and 6 years old, I began to want to be affirmed. I began to enjoy being affirmed. I became addicted to the affirmation and the attention. I mean, if a kid wants to steal all of the attention out of the room, all they have to do is say, I'm a transgender. They can suck the life out of a room in a heartbeat. And the focus is right on them. And they can get anything they want, can't they?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Nobody calls them out. Nobody says, how'd you come to this conclusion? But we know how they came to the conclusion.
Their parents.
Schools are giving them books.
Now
They're indoctrinating
in
them.
schools.
Parents are encouraging them.
Like exactly like a show.
Online, they're in chat rooms suggesting groups of kids become transgender. It's a fad.
Yep.
Yes, there are people who are autogynephilia, but there's also people who are deeply troubled. Over 50% of the people that I've worked with, hundreds of people that I've worked with over the last 10 years, were sexually abused. Boys who were abused at a young age come to the conclusion that the only way they can prevent themselves from being sexually abused again is to cut off their genitalia and become females. In their mind, that is their defense mechanism.
Yikes.
For sexual abuse. Girls who are sexually abused want to be men as a way to fend off any intruder or sexual abuser, because they will no longer be attractive for sexual abuse. Whether it's men or women, vast majority of them were abused as children. Many of them I sit with and talk with privately are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s before they're ever able for the first time to disclose they were sexually abused. It's too painful. I was sexually abused at 9 years old, multiple times, by my uncle. When I told my parents I was sexually abused, they said, "Oh, Uncle Fred wouldn't do that." Wrong. They said I was a liar. So now I had worn a purple dress as a 4-year-old. I'd been sexually abused, and now I'm a liar. You know, it's not a real good way to start off life, and you're not only 9 years old. We've got to start helping the young people. And when people ask for help from me, I have one simple thing I always ask them. Tell me what caused you to not want to be who you are. 100% of the time, they can tell me.
Wow.
They can tell me. I'm feeling the pain right now of them sharing with me some of these stories, because even I weep. They're ugly. They're horrible. They're so deep, nobody wants to talk about it.
Yep.
But we better start talking about it. We're ruining an entire generation of young people. And it's serious business. I'm not pulling any punches.
Gonna have to talk about it. That's a
And you shouldn't either.
big solution.
Thank you.
So if you go to the description box, you can watch the entire interview. I have it in the description box. It's about an hour long. And it's interesting when you tie in flat earth with it, because you'll be in a scientific debate in front of a large audience, like I was, and the so-called globe earth scientist who's debating you will try to bring in your anti-child abuse, anti-pumping children up with chemical blockers and hormones and mutilating children. And I'm like, yeah, mutilating children and pumping their blood full of hormones is not the discussion we're having. We're having a flat earth, globe earth debate. So yeah, let's keep it on topic here. Oh, that's a good idea. Don't try to see that's a little warlock, a little sorcerer trick they try to do on you. Oh, it seems like you post a anti it's like, nah, that's not gonna work here, folks. Um, well, that's pretty much it, folks. I'm glad you enjoyed this. So let's see here. That was awesome. That was a good show. What's the special power of a training superhero? I already told you, damn, they shoot rainbows out all orifices. Rainbows, a rainbow blast out of all the holes of a training man, and that is a powerful move. Oh, by the way, WWF, WWE, MMA, and the UFC are full of transgender. So, there's plenty of. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll probably go live again soon. Shadow says, "Remember when you were called out and you would not show your digit rate?" I have dude, Shadow. I have a video where I'm in my fucking boxers. You fucking fag. Go back and watch it. It's like there's a list and your name is still on it. Cool. I'm well aware that Poncho Pete Shea is completely batshit crazy and out of his fucking mind. He called his mother a tranny. That's how insane he is. He basically stabbed a dude in front of his child. I have a video where I'm in my boxers, or in my briefs, actually. Go scour through my 400 videos and go try to find me in my boxers. Fucking fag. These fucking faggots are they have no fucking athletic bones in their body. They don't show their faces on camera, let alone their bodies. I show my face, and I've showed basically my entire body except my dick. And you can go and watch my my video and stare at my beautiful bulge. Fucking fag. But that's enough, though. Point proven.